Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel for my final video of 2023. Given that this year has been quite intense for me, I haven't been able to review as many movies as any of my previous years while having this channel, so thank you all so much for continuing to support me even after such a lackluster year for this channel. However, this year has provided many great films and it's the time of year where I rank all of the ones that I've seen. These are all my opinions, so if they differ from yours, please be respectful in the comment section below. And if there's a movie that you don't see in this list, it's either because it's based on Australian release dates or that I may not have had enough time to get around to it. So the comment section is always open to recommend me some of your favourite movies of 2023 or even just some general recommendations. Without further ado, this is Kia's Reviews and enjoy my year in film for 2023. Starting off with the 1 out of 10s for 2023, this one serves as the worst film of the year in my opinion, and that is One True Loves, and the only other 1 out of 10 film for the year is Paint. Swiftly coming out of the 1 out of 10s, we're moving into the 2 out of 10s of the year, starting with Doggone, then we have Barbie, Skipper and the Big Babysitting Adventure, Tell It Like a Woman, The Mean One, Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman Part 1, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, The Other Zoe, Freelance, Peter Pan and Wendy, Spy Kids Armageddon, Meg 2 The Trench, Trolls Band Together, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, 65, and After Everything. Continuing into the field of 3 out of 10 starts with Wolf Manor, You People, Mafia Mama, Mavka the Forest Song, Shackleton the Greatest Story of Survival, Alleluia, Hypnotic, Slaughterhouse, Robots, Insidious the Red Door, Red, White and Royal Blue, The Little Mermaid, Renfield, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, Merry Little Batman, Haunted Mansion, Expendables 4, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, Candy Cane Lane, The Marvels, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and Five Nights at Freddy's. As we get closer to the average movies, we have to get through the 4 out of 10s first with Outpost, Transfusion, It Lives Inside, Ghosted, The Equalizer 3, Strange Way of Life, The Pope's Exorcist, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, Crater, Leo, Naiad, See You on Venus, Migration, Retribution, Fisherman's Friends One and All, The Sun, Murder Mystery 2, Scary Girl, Your Christmas or Mine 2, The Wrath of Becky, Marlowe, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Christmas Cabin Fever, No One Will Save You, The Marsh King's Daughter, and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania. For the 5 out of 10s, we're beginning with The Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker, Rye Lane, Legion of Superheroes, Daughter, A Haunting in Venice, Devotion, Magic Mike's Last Dance, Empire of Light, Megan, The Boogeyman, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, All That Breathes, Showing Up, Stephen Curry Underrated, Justice League Warworld, Silent Night, The Nun 2, Elemental, The Exorcist Believer, Carmen, Dix the Musical, When You Finish Saving the World, Quiz Lady, Your Place or Mine, Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman Part 2, Napoleon, The Machine, Sharper, Rebel Moon Part 1 A Child of Fire, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Strays, Asteroid City, and Pain Hustlers. Continuing through the 6 out of 10 starts with Blueback, The Pale Blue Eye, Skinamarink, Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre, Sweet As, Earth Mama, 80 for Brady, Emily, Batman the Doom That Came to Gotham, Cat Person, Love at First Sight, Cocaine Bear, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, Fast X, John Mulaney Baby J, Champions, Shazam Fury of the Gods, Jesus Revolution, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Matt Rife Natural Selection, Palm Trees and Power Lines, The Creator, The Covenant, Reptile, Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, The Inspection, Plane, Rustin, The Super Mario Bros. Movie, Gran Turismo, Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2, Imagine Dragons Live in Vegas, The Deepest Breath, Master Gardener, and Wonka. Moving into some of the more solid releases of the year, we move into the 7 out of 10s, beginning with Alice Darling, Knock at the Cabin, A Man Called Otto, Close, Living with Chucky, Of an Age, Infinity Pool, Suzume, If These Walls Could Sing, John Farnham Finding the Voice, Still a Michael J. Fox Movie, No Hard Feelings, Joyride, Wham, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, Creed 3, Spoiler Alert, Missing, What's Love Got to Do with It, The Adults, Sanctuary, Anyone But You, Foe, Thanksgiving, The Boy and the Heron, David Holmes' The Boy Who Lived, To Catch a Killer, Landscape with Invisible Hand, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Extraction 2, Past Lives, Sound of Freedom, I Like Movies, Stan Lee, Maestro, Breaking, Reality, and Totally Killer. Starting off the 8 out of 10s is Till, Weird the Al Yankovic Story, Broker, To Leslie, You Hurt My Feelings, I Used to Be Funny, Chevalier, Pearl, Lewis Tomlinson, All of Those Voices, The Flash, Are You There God It's Me Margaret, A Good Person, Dumb Money, They Clone Tyrone, Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match, Evil Dead Rise, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Blackberry, Wish, Ricky Gervais Armageddon, Air, One Life, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, Tetris, Talk to Me, True Spirit, Blue Beetle, The Hunger Games The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Killers of the Flower Moon, Flora and Sun, The Killer, Sisu, Barbie, Bottoms, and The Whale. Continuing on with the almost perfect films of the year with ratings of a 9 out of 10, starts with EO, Living, Hot Potato, The Story of the Wiggles, and The Royal Hotel. And coming in at number 20, which begins the 10 honourable mentions that just missed out on making it into my top 10 of 2023, begins with Nimona, Fair Play, Babylon, Scream 6, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Commencing with our 10 out of 10 perfect films of the year at number 15 is Saltburn, The Fabelmans, Godzilla Minus One, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, and Scrapper. Before we get into my top 10 of 2023, 2024 is packed with some amazing upcoming projects, so I'll be providing my 10 most anticipated films of next year. At number 10 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Then we have Mickey 17, Nosferatu, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Deadpool 3, Borderlands, The Iron Claw, Priscilla, Joker Folie à Deux, and my number 1 most anticipated film of next year is Dune Part 2. Now we begin my top 10 films of 2023 with Leave the World Behind coming in at number 10. In a world where films spoon-feed their audiences every little detail in order to make sure that the audience is comfortable and are following their story in a sensitive and giving fashion, it feels like films barely challenge audiences to think anymore. Leave the World Behind is one of the rare films that grips you and challenges you to work things out on your own, and it does it in a crazily twisted and perspective-shifting fashion. Whenever one plot point feels like it is settled and is directed for a resolution, 3 more questions pop up into your mind, and that sends your head into a spin, while also trying to keep up with the events of the film as they unfold. At 140 minutes, there isn't a single second that director Sam Esmail does not keep his audience engrossed in this manipulative narrative. The intercutting editing technique is used to immaculate perfection in this movie, given that at one point it balances 3 scenes, providing some of the most gripping tension I've ever felt in a film before. There is a keen calculation that Esmail implements here that fascinates me, and is why Leave the World Behind gave me one of the best experiences I've ever had with a film. Coming in at number 9 is Poor Things. Bestowing yet another masterpiece to his audiences, Yorgos Lanthimos presents Poor Things as a completely unorthodox, yet unique and strangely tasteful, metaphorical look into the growth and journey that life provides. It's an exceptional example of a definitive and philosophical examination of what it is to travel through life and the maturity that comes with life experiences. The build-up of recognition and realization of the wonders of the world thoroughly depend on painting an artistic representation of the perfections of living. The first 3 acts specifically dwell on these perfections so as to make the final 2 acts contrast heavily to the imperfections of the world. Since Poor Things is entirely void of conventions, it gives Lanthimos his complete freedom to experiment in as many ways as he can. This is Emma Stone's best performance, as her physicality is beyond that of anything I've seen before, but everything is so intricately curated and brilliantly choreographed to the point where the abnormal feels comfortable and accepted by the audience. Every sequence gleams with colour, and while the story is there plain and simple, the deep connection with it is in what it doesn't explicitly tell, and what it genuinely represents. Every crafted shot could be a painting, making for the best cinematography of the year. The creativity and originality in Poor Things is inspiring, and proves why Lanthimos is one of this generation's greatest directors. Securing 8th place is Tar. Tar is simply one of the best examples of completely controlled mastery in cinema. At an extensive runtime of 160 minutes, this movie proves to defy the concept of time, as each sequence in passing never feels like it's as long as it is. Having almost every scene be 10 to 20 minutes long made the sequential timeline of the story short, but every scene had a purpose and there wasn't a single moment that wasn't warranted. It's a seamless journey through obsession and the dangers of love and attraction. Director Todd Field's direction is focused and calculated to absolute perfection. Like Emma Stone in Poor Things, this is the best performance of Cate Blanchett's career, as she's able to make you feel the underlying messages of the dialogue through her body movements, and it's a simply fascinating feat. It felt like Blanchett commanded this film, influencing everything about it from the runtime to the exquisite execution of the dialogue. Tar captures its audience in the best ways by exploiting its most positive attributes to the furthest extent that they could, making for pure and honest cinema for which this is bound to be remembered as a classic. Swinging into number 7 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. In my opinion, this sequel runs circles around Into the Spider-Verse by elevating it, shifting it, and completely demolishing any original expectations and perspectives of the first movie. Across the Spider-Verse creates the best animation I've ever seen in film history, as it encompasses the styles of pastel painting animation in combination with 3D animation in the vein of the first movie, to the point of it being a bewildering, exquisite, and honestly perfect viewing experience. Ecstatic with colour and motion, it creates visuals that are groundbreaking. The story is strong with its focus on what makes both Miles and Gwen the heroes that they want to be and not what they are. The action, the motivations, and the impending consequences of some of the characters in this movie sends you on the most ambitious yet perfect Spider-Man journey ever put to the big screen. The final half hour completely twists your view on how the first film plays out and completely turns the first film on its head. The cultural significance and impact that this movie will have is immensely powerful. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse marks another leap in filmmaking and will forever be remembered as one of the greatest achievements in cinematic history. Arriving at 6th place comes Theatre Camp. Theatre Camp is easily one of the most spectacular, hilarious, and beautiful movies of the year. Adopting the genre of the mockumentary and some very off-the-cuff improvised comedy, this film had me laughing from beginning to end. While it certainly appeals and caters for an audience full of theatre kids and musical fanatics, the addition of Jimmy Tatro as a character who is so detached from what theatre kids are like opens up this movie's accessibility to a wider audience. It's full of musical references and is very reminiscent of drama classes and musical rehearsals, and since I was very much a part of both of these areas in high school, there's a certain relatability that this movie captures that enhances the comedy's impact. The cinematography and camera work very much adhere to the style of The Office, and that makes the experience a whole lot more intimate and quite frankly hysterical. Molly Gordon and Ben Platt are a phenomenal duo, and since they're such close friends in real life, their banter and chemistry is beyond electric. Theatre Camp is an incredibly charming, hilarious, energetic, relatable, and emotional film that captures the memories of those obsessed with musical theatre or drama classes, and promotes an experience that will guarantee a lot of fun, laughs, and maybe even a tear or two. At number 5 is Beau is Afraid. Infamously regarded among the people that I know as the movie that I saw 10 times at the cinemas, Beau is Afraid is easily one of the most intriguing yet crazily confusing films, if not the most confusing film of all time. Coming off of the popularity of his previous 2 feature films in Hereditary and Midsommar, Ari Aster plays with his most ambitious project yet with Beau is Afraid. Leaving the entire message implicit throughout the entire movie, there is no room for casual viewing as you're taken on this high-octane, anxiety-ridden acid trip. Everything is metaphorical, and even though the film is supposed to be taken at face value, the underlying messages are represented through how you interpret the narrative. It took me 3 watches to come to a conclusive theory and assume my understanding of the story. However, the next 2 watches were the most thrilling because even though the film goes for over 3 hours, Aster perfectly places very intricately curated small details in the background of the film in every single sequence, and being able to search for those minute details in order to support my interpretation of the narrative made the experience of watching Beau is Afraid all the more enticing. It felt almost like a puzzle waiting to be solved. That's why I love Beau is Afraid, as it is a wildly original film that isn't scared to take risks, and that's something Hollywood is lacking at the moment. Originality, whether it's received well or not, should be what audiences hope for in a movie nowadays instead of sequels, remakes, and reboots. That's why A24 has such a high amount of respect, because it promotes original material. Not only is Beau is Afraid darkly comedic at times and features one of Joaquin Phoenix's most incredible performances, I loved taking my friends to see the film because they would have no idea what they were about to witness and have no clue as to how wild this experience would be. However, Beau is Afraid definitely guarantees this above anything else. It's something that you'll never have seen before. Even Martin Scorsese thought so.
Wow, you're going to get gored here and there because it's a matter of the risk-taking that's so unique and so powerful that there are very few filmmakers now on this level that are doing that, I think. No, it's a remarkable body of work so far, really.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Also, as a side note to humour my friends that know me well, this movie introduced me to one of my now favourite actresses of all time, Kylie Rogers. She's gorgeous, but also can act incredibly well, and I can't wait to follow her career after this film. Sitting with my friends afterwards after multiple different screenings and being able to have a conversation with them about how they interpreted the movie only made for an even better experience for me, because it would open up a conversation that would explore the concepts of the film while also pondering for hours about what certain things could mean. An experience that can provide that will always resonate with me, and that's why I think that Beau is Afraid was one of the best films of 2023, because of how thought-provoking, ambitious, genreless, risky, and purely original it is. An epic action blockbuster comes in at number 4 with John Wick Chapter 4. Undeniably the best of the franchise, John Wick Chapter 4 delivers some of the best action sequences and fight choreography of all time. The way this film is structured is magnificent, as it delivers such a gripping story, while also continuing the overall plot of the previous installments, inventing new characters that establish and conclude their own story arcs perfectly in these 3 hours. It constantly keeps you on the edge of your seat with some of the most enticing battles in film history, as well as the personal investments that you develop in all of the new characters being surprising, yet it contributes so much more to this outing over the rest, holding an emotional undertone that isn't usually present in action-focused franchises. The way the editing encompasses the consistently gorgeous cinematography and beautifully lit set designs gave audiences a slight attack on the senses, but in the best way possible, because it kept you wanting more, and when you think the fight is over, the film continues its service and doesn't let up for the following 10 minutes. The violence in Chapter 4 is easily the most graphic out of all 4 films, and while it may not be as violent as most other action movies, this one certainly relies on delivering something really creative. John Wick Chapter 4 has really set the standard for what audiences should expect from action movies nowadays, even with Keanu Reeves' cheesy but invigorating one-liners. Coming in at 3rd place is Women Talking. Women Talking is a confronting, overwhelming, yet also an immensely emotionally powerful film that delivers some of the strongest dialogue that I've ever heard, because it always had a purpose. No words are wasted in this movie. It's a very introspective story that delves into some of the hardest issues happening to women still to this day, and by unrelentingly confronting the audience with the facts and ideologies of how boys aren't born to be rapists, and how children are taught power and aren't born with these sick innate urges and thought processes, made for a very touching but depressing watch. Every character had their own set of morals and suggestions, and therefore always had a strong convincing point, which would make the audience ponder for a moment, and while there are some ideas that may seem completely irrational, you empathise with their situation and figure out why this controversial idea was even suggested in the first place. This way you unknowingly draw a connection to the development of each of the 4 core actresses and the characters they portray. The score was subtle but brilliant too, as it had a very hopeful tone to its few instruments that invited a sort of uplifting feeling to differentiate itself from the depressing subject matter at hand. Women Talking is a film of strong conflict and perfect empowerment, and is one of the most necessary films to watch in your lifetime. My runner-up in 2nd place for 2023 is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is nothing short of a masterpiece, earning every single second of its 3-hour runtime, consistently fast-paced, intriguingly bewildering, and providing some of the best performances of the year. Christopher Nolan reaches new heights with this incredible story. Riding off of the popularity of the Barbenheimer phenomenon, Oppenheimer provides such an immaculate story that is both subjective and objective, as it consistently shifts perspectives from fact to interpretative fiction, demonstrated visually through the colour palette being black and white compared to colour. Cillian Murphy has undeniably provided the best performance of his career and has safely secured his Oscar for this award season. Each act adopted a new tone, but the only constant that Oppenheimer had going for it was how intense it was, and that is especially shown in its 3rd act, with nothing but dialogue being the driving force for the audience's engagement. The cast is stacked with a lot of Hollywood A-listers and contains an insane amount of cameos from recognisable actors from many popular projects, so it's also a lot of fun to be able to identify certain actors throughout. It's simply the best ensemble cast of all time. The sequence of the detonation of the atomic bomb is guaranteed to be recognised and referenced as one of the best scenes in cinematic history, engaging with all senses of sound, visuals, and feeling. The cinematography is beyond gorgeous, and having been able to witness it in 1570 film at IMAX 3 times this year, in addition to the other 4 times that I saw it in cinemas, it's a cinematic experience that can't be matched. It's Nolan's definitive masterpiece, and while I do love The Dark Knight the most out of his filmography, Oppenheimer is beyond flawless in every single aspect of the word, and it delivers on every front in the most engaging way possible, making for the quickest and most involving 3-hour experience I've ever had. Oppenheimer is certainly going to be the frontrunner and most awarded film in this year's upcoming awards season, and will definitely be remembered as an instant classic. Rounding off my top 10 as my favourite film of 2023 is Aftersun. Aftersun is a masterpiece because it is such an emotionally mature film that captures and touches on some extremely heavy themes without even having to make it a big part of a story arc, and even leaving some of these themes ambiguous, especially when it comes to its melancholic conclusion. It does enough to make you think about it long after it finishes, being a real spark for deep and meaningful conversations. It's significantly moving and arresting, since the strong attachment that you end up forming with these two characters is so profound that it makes the final half hour so overwhelming. It got me to the point where I was crying so much that I was heaving and didn't stop throughout the entire credits. I genuinely haven't cried like that in years. Aftersun focuses on the captured innocence of navigating two worlds in which both aren't stable, yet Callum is forced to uphold his appearance for the sake of his daughter in order to prevent any shift in happiness or the concealment of their childhood innocence. Piecing together the complexities that come with adulthood centralizes the growth in Frankie Corio's character Sophie as she ventures through many mature events that children her age wouldn't normally deal with. The home videos filmed through the family's video camera encapsulates the familial themes of innocence as we follow the memories being made in the current time, representing Sophie's happiness as well as her honest outlook on the world she is presented with. Callum always seeks to make his daughter's life as fun and enjoyable as he can possibly make it, which is the only goal that's truly set in stone within his mind as he tries to overcome the shortcomings of his own parents. He fights to make her happy through his own personal battle of depression, which he consistently struggles with throughout the film, whether it be subtly suggested or explicitly shown. Aftersun makes for a profound multiple viewing experience, given that the first watch is devastatingly emotional, but also gives you the chance to recognise how this film would change upon a second viewing, making it even more compelling and enriching than the first time you saw it, because it opens up more content than you originally perceived. You find that the minimal dialogue gains its own focus as well, as it isn't a dialogue-heavy film. It's in the silences where Aftersun is at its most impactful. What Charlotte Wells does so well with her directorial debut is how many hints there are that you never pick up on, especially on the first watch. Knowing what you know at the film's conclusion leaves you completely dumbfounded as to how easily and simply you disregarded key developmental points for these characters. Paul Mescal and Frankie Corio also share such a special and memorable chemistry that is undeniably sweet and kind-hearted, and it will be the role that will define Paul's career. Why is Aftersun my favourite film of 2023? It's because this single-handedly restores my faith in the existence of original stories in Hollywood, as Aftersun is such a special and brilliant film that is bound to improve upon every repeat viewing, with the same amount of heart and emotion being felt each time. 2023 has been the best year for me as a film reviewer on this platform, as I've been granted so many amazing opportunities, such as attending multiple premieres, as well as being put on different studio press lists, and being sent DVDs to review from companies within Australia too. I couldn't be more grateful for anyone that's given me these opportunities, but I also thank all of you that are watching for supporting me, because even though it's been a slow year with very few reviews in the past 5 months, you've stuck with me throughout the most intense year of my life, and I really appreciate it. Without you, I wouldn't have the opportunities that I do now, and to be turning my passion for film into a platform where you all are interested and entertained by my views on the newest releases, it's truly an honour to do it for you every year. On that note, what films did you love this year? If you have any movie recommendations from this year that you didn't see come up on my list, let me know below in the comments. I love hearing from you all, and I love replying to any comment that I can. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that you have a Happy New Year, and that 2024 treats you well. Thank you for a brilliant 2023, as I was able to celebrate 5 years of Kiers Reviews back in October. So here's some more reviews and new films in 2024 and beyond. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram for all of my latest movie reviews. This has been Kiers Reviews, signing off for now.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.